Joining us now with his insights as to what could have gone wrong, Daniel Rose, aviation expert and former Navy pilot. Daniel, thanks for being with us. Just walk us through your reaction to everything we've seen and heard so far.
Well, obviously, first and foremost, thoughts and prayers go out to the families. It's a terrible tragedy, and unfortunately, another one that can and should have been prevented. It is. To the extent there's air traffic control involvement in it, there seems to be the case, although it's pretty early to tell. There could be other factors as well. But we've seen over the decades, and even here in the tri-state area, over the last 5 to 10 years, an uptick and an increase in near misses. And it's really not surprising that, for instance, the last major disaster in the U.S. just last year in Washington, D.C., between the helicopter and the CRJ jet as well, was also air traffic control related and a miss, and not a near miss there, but a mid-air collision. So that is the real kind of the underbelly of the aviation safety system. It is generally very safe, probably the safest in the world, but the weak spot has been demonstrated to be and continues to be the human link in the form of air traffic control.
Yeah.
That is just faced with a lot of challenges.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that. So Duffy was asked why the fire truck didn't stop, and we've heard the air traffic control audio. What was your take on that? Can you give us any insight into why both were on the runway at the same time, the plane and the fire truck?
Again, too early to really definitively tell, but there's been, if the timing is accurate on some of these videos and clips that are on the internet, one thing that struck me is that there seemed to be quite a pause between the first time that the fire truck asked to cross the runway and was almost immediately granted permission until some 20 to 30 seconds, which is critical, until the controller told him to stop. And at that point was too late. So one of the questions is what was going on in that 20 to 30 second period, because was it the air traffic controller that underestimated the time necessary to cross, or was it the fire truck that didn't cross immediately? But those are things that are going to have to be looked at to explain why a fire truck ended up on an active runway like that.
Right, and we know that fire truck was being scrambled to go to another part of the airport where there had been an aborted takeoff. Is this just sort of procedure? If something like that happens, they scramble a truck just as a precaution? What can you tell us about that, and what do you think was happening at that part of the airport prior to the crash?
Yeah, apparently there was another aircraft that had fumes in the cabin and was trying to get to a gate, couldn't do that. So the thought was to open up the doors and let people come out, and then the fire department would be there to apparently assist. So it's not unusual, for fire trucks to scramble for any given reason at an airport, but it doesn't matter. There are procedures in place for how you get there, who you talk to, how you cross. All of that is wrote and written in stone and has to be followed by everybody that's responsible for bringing a fire truck over to where it needs to be on the airport.
Yeah, the FAA administrator mentioned the fire truck and that, it's procedure to get to the aborted flight for takeoff, but also referenced the fact that there was weather, there was rainy, it was limited visibility of 4 miles. So did you think that weather had a part to play in this as well?
I don't think so, unless, there was ground fog, which there doesn't appear to be. But visibility certainly does, and it's very hard, even for trained pilots, sometimes to look down a runway where you have, all kinds of bright lights shining, including right down the center line, and pick out an aircraft with bright lights on the front of it, which is the headlights and the landing lights, coming down the runway. So I think visibility will be a factor in that, especially non-pilots trying to discern how far or where even a plane is on the runway is probably an issue here.
All right, Daniel Rose, we're going to have to leave it there, aviation expert. We appreciate you joining us and sharing your perspective.